Welcome to the Say Hey podcast, a San Francisco Giants podcast for the casual fan. Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Say Hey Podcast. Follow me on Twitter at Say Hey Doug. Follow Rob at Say Hey Rob. And make sure you're subscribed and following on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Robbie, happy Monday, August 24th. How's it going?
Happy Monday, August 24th. Man, 2020 is flying by, thank God. But what's not flying by now is the San Francisco Giants.
You want to get right into it.
Because 6 in a row, Doug. 6 in a row.
6 in a row, what? Losses or what?
No, man. The opposite of the losses. The shit that we didn't think we'd be seeing. What the fuck,
They've won 6 games in a row?
6 motherfucking games in a row. I'm going to start watching now.
The Giants are 14-16 through 30 games, and we are officially halfway through this 2020 season. It's crazy, dude, because I know we have a loaded episode, and we'll get into it, but it's funny because last Monday was coming off that A series where they should have won at least 2 of 3. They won 0 of 3, and then they lost that first game to the Angels where Trevor got again, if that makes sense, and gave up the lead late. And Monday night they were 8-16, and things were looking. I wouldn't even say bad. It was just like, okay, well now this is what we kind of expected.
Yeah, watching the games kind of felt like a job.
Without
at
pay.
That point.
So we can call it an internship.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, we don't get paid ever.
Yeah. So it's crazy. It's crazy what a week can do, man. Because long story short, playoffs started today. Your San Francisco Giants be in it. Now I know there's a different format this year, but I guess we're thankful. They wouldn't even be the worst team in the playoffs seed-wise. They'd be the 7 seed. I think the Rockies would be the 8 right now, correct?
Yeah, those scrubs. Yeah.
That would give you 4 that would give you 4 NL West teams out of the 8. Because it's
Imagine not being in the top 7. Imagine not being in the top 7. Right? Couldn't be our team.
So it's weird because there's the 3 divisions. The top 2 get in automatic this year. And then so there's your 6. And then 7 and 8 are filled by the next 2 teams in the AL or NL with the best records. And the Giants have the 7th best record. So crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff.
The world works in funny ways.
So after that Monday loss last week to the Angels, they haven't lost since. They took the next 3. They won the next night, Tuesday, in Anaheim. Then they came home, won Wednesday and Thursday. And then they went on to beat the division foe, Arizona Diamondbacks, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that wasn't even the most exciting part. But we'll get into that next. But let's touch on that DBacks series real quick. Friday night, Giants win 6-2 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. 6 more runs, 10 more hits. The Giants continue to just be pretty impressive at the plate, man. Let's get going on Friday night.
Well, I had a little optimism, on Friday, especially coming off the 3 wins against the Angels. And you had a struggling Robbie Ray come into that game. The walk machine this year. I've been tracking most of his starts. He's not been good, and I'm thinking, okay, if the Giants are as good against lefties as I like to think they are, they're going to fuck up Robbie Ray a little bit. And, it didn't go, it started off a little slow, but eventually they got to him a bit. It was nice to see Longoria get number 300. Talk about an oversight on everybody's part. I had no idea he was sitting at 299 for so long. And then, especially during that Angels series,
you
all the talk about Pujols, tying Mays and stuff. And I mean, I was kind of half-ass rooting for that to happen, and then that doesn't happen. Then we get Longoria hitting 300. I'm like, oh shit, we weren't even talking about this. So good for Evan Longoria, forever Giant.
Yeah, and Yaz had 2 more hits that night, and obviously we'll talk about him more in a little bit. But another really good night for Logan Webb on the mound. 7 innings, 2 earned, no walks, 8 strikeouts. The cool thing is and I do want to get into this later because we are going to talk some Gabe Kapler. But he got over the century mark, man. 102 pitches.
Yep.
So he got left in a little longer, lowered his ERA down to 3.29 for the season now. Really, really good ERA for a 23-year-old. But 102 pitches, 71 strikes.
It's very good.
That's a really good ratio.
8 strikeouts.
Yep. And then follow-up time after that to close it out, Watson and Rogers. Rogers been a little better as of late.
A little bit, yep.
Tony Watson's been really good all year. Got the 8th inning, 2 strikeouts, a 104 ERA now on the year. So maybe the Achilles heel of this team, the bullpen, starting to slowly come around. We'll talk about them a little more. Any closing thoughts on Game 1 from Friday?
Yeah, the new catcher.
Oh yeah,
like that's a big boy. Joey Bart is his name, and hitting the piss out of balls is his game. Okay, his first double, that was some shit I hadn't heard come off a Giants bat, and I'm talking Bonds. I mean, I don't know, like that sounded like Cody Bellinger.
That ball's pissed on.
Yeah, that's the sound Cody Bellinger makes every time he makes contact with a ball. And so if you didn't know anything about Joey Bart before that at bat, man, I hope you know now, because everything up to this point has been, minor league stuff and video that has been stolen from me multiple times, but that's fine. NBC Bay Area. But
always cite your source.
Right. But yeah, that guy, we'll get more of him later, but he belongs.
But too, and yeah, we will talk more Joey Bart. That wasn't even his first game. I forgot. He came out Thursday and finished that series against the Angels. So
did he?
Yeah, he did. So
I like him. Oh, you're right.
Yeah. So he's played in 4 games now. Actually, Saturday in Game 2. But I want to wrap up Game 1 real quick. Another home run that night from Wilmer Flores. Another guy that's been added onto my everyday player list. The dude's hitting really well right now, man.
Yeah, he's killing it.
And the thing he's doing too, and I we don't need to get too much into specifics and stuff, but the way he's the low and in fastballs, the way he's turning on them and still hitting them for power and pulling them, dude's dialed in right now. And so I love seeing Wilmer Flores right in the middle of that lineup, man. Give him to me in the 4, 5, 6 spot right now. So yeah, all around good night Friday.
He gives that lineup length.
He does. He really does, especially now with Bart in it. Like you got dudes that can hit consistently, 1 through 7. And the crappy part is, and I guess it's a positive, but it's kind of getting lost in the last few games because they've still been playing well, is losing Austin Slater, man, who was playing really well. Yeah. And then he gets hurt with the groin injury. I'm hoping he can come back immediately after those 10 days from the injured list. So we'll see.
Get well soon.
Yeah. Saturday, Bart didn't start in this game, but he ended up pitch hitting, and you won't believe it, his 1 plate appearance, he got a hit. And it was his double. It was his 3rd double. So through 3 games, 3 doubles for Joey Bart.
Embarrassment of riches.
Yeah. But Diamondbacks pitcher Zach Gallen, who's been having a really good year, pitched
Very
well
good.
again. He
Very
pitched
good.
well. I know he's on my fantasy team. 6 innings, just 1 earned, 6 Ks. Did walk 4, which we'll talk about walks in a minute in that night. But this was a really good game until late. Tyler Anderson was the story of this game.
Absolutely.
The first Giant to go all 9 this year, which is great because the dude's, I think, 29 or 30. Pitched with Colorado a couple years ago. All 9, complete game. The 1 run he gave up was unearned. 4 strikeouts, no walks, 103 pitches. Another example of Gabe Kapler letting his starter go. Any thoughts on that, Rob?
No, that was great to see. And if you're anything like me, and you're looking over your shoulder that whole game, thinking, okay, when's the bullpen getting up? When's the bullpen getting up? Anderson's at 80. Oh shit, okay, he's at 90. Oh damn, they might let him go all the way here. And I mean, he looked as good in the ninth as he did in the first. If we're being honest, like you said, 103 pitches. That's not that much for throwing 9 innings.
Yeah.
And 69 for strikes.
Nice.
So yeah, nice. But yeah, I mean, that's just that's fantastic because we talked about him a few weeks back, and we both said it's hard to judge a guy who started his career in Colorado, because what do you really know about him? Okay, he struggled at Coors Field. I mean, who the hell doesn't? So, and the other thing I liked about that game too, early on, was they got a lot of pitches out of Zach Gallen. That's how they got into the bullpen and beat up on that shitty Diamondbacks bullpen.
Yeah,
because Gallen was a little wild early, and they were patient with him. So, yeah, very good to see.
Yeah, and speaking of that Diamondbacks bullpen, that's when Grace came in the 7th, didn't record an out, gave up 3 earned. And I know Guerra, the guy who came in after that, couldn't throw a strike, it feels like. The Giants had 8 walks that game. And you know what? And they only had the 5 hits. So if you're not hitting well, take advantage of wild pitching. And it doesn't matter how you score runs in today's game. So just
be disciplined. Be disciplined if you're not seeing the ball well.
Yeah. So, like I said, Bart got a pinch hit late in that game. Actually, it was pretty big. It kind of blew up their 4-run 7th. So
it did.
And then one more note from that game: Brandon Belt 2 more hits, and then we'll get into game 3 yesterday. And obviously, Robbie and I are very critical of Brandon Belt, and but we've said he's a very streaky guy. And was it in our last episode, or it might have been 2 ago? We said, hey, he goes for 2 or 3 weeks where he's playing how we think he always should have been. And Brandon Belt's been pretty good the last, I would say, 10 games.
Yeah.
And so we can transition into game 3 that way.
Sure.
Where the Giants won 6-1 yesterday. Brandon Belt, 3 hits yesterday, 2 runs, upped his average up to 274 for the season now, which is very respectable.
That's very good.
His on-base percentage. His on-base percentage is a solid 357 because he loves to walk. So,
of course.
Hey, Brandon Belt, stay hot.
No, you know what? I think what's going on with Belt right now is, we know he's streaky. He's always been like that. But the fact that everybody around him is hitting as well right now, that makes it so much easier. I mean, dudes have been on base when he came up, so that helps too. You got Yaz and Dickerson both on Saturday, both drew two walks in front of him. And this is one of those things where in years past, I think we've been very critical of Belt because, he's making all that money and he's there to drive in runs. And the last couple of years, nobody on this team could hit. Yeah. Right now, everybody's hitting. And so that's got to make his job a little bit easier. Like I'm not saying, let's ride him all the way home or anything, but he looks good right now. And I think there's just a little less pressure on him right now. So it's nice to see.
It's just nice to see a Giants offense contributing on a daily basis now. I mean, this is I tentative to say it, but it's a good offense right now.
It is right now for sure.
So let's enjoy it while it lasts, But yeah, yesterday, Mike Yastrzemski, birthday boy yesterday, hit his 7th of the year in the 6th inning. The following inning, Alex Dickerson hit a 3-run bomb. So the power continues to be there as well for this team. 10 hits yesterday.
And he needed that specifically.
He did because he's kind of been struggling in the last 10 games or so.
Average down to 211.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of that, the Panda had 2 hits. And I think with –
so did Longo.
Yeah. I think especially, with Pablo having no ties to the team right now moving forward, after Hunter Pence got DFA'd yesterday, that might have put him on notice just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Not afraid to let anybody go, which I know you and I are all for.
Right.
And we'll talk about Hunter Pence in a little bit. We have a lot to cover today, so we'll get to it. But me, I'm a pitching guy. And dude, Trevor Cahill yesterday, man. And I remember I said before the game, Trevor Cahill needs to be Trevor in the letter Cahill.
That was a good one
yesterday. 8 of them yesterday, through 5 1/3. Only 1 earned. He only gave up 1 hit, walked 2, 88 pitches. His ERA now down to a beautiful 1.64. Trevor Cahill.
Remember when he got that start in Houston and we thought it was going to be him or Andy Suarez? Thank God they've gone down the Cahill route, because even though he's been pretty limited in his innings before yesterday, man, I mean, it looks like he's finding something. And you know what? I'll take that over what we saw from Andy Suarez the last couple of years. So,
well, and remember when we were kind of guessing who would get that start in Houston, we were like, we know what we're going to get from Suarez. Let's see Cahill, what he can do with this team right now. And he's delivered, man. He's been really good. And I know a week from today is that MLB trade deadline. So who knows? He could very much be available, and the Giants could flip him for someone.
It's just nice to see, him do this when we had the littlest of expectations for him. So anything positive from him is wonderful.
Sounds like several players on this team this year.
Right.
So 10 more hits yesterday. Like you said, Pablo 2 hits, Longoria had 2 hits. He's hitting over 260 now. So, yeah, I mean, the offense continues to deliver. And then the bullpen for the Giants yesterday, like I kind of said, from Friday moving on, maybe the bullpen's kind of starting to settle in. And I want, because I have something I want to say regarding the whole pitching staff going into the Gabe Kapler discussion. But
okay,
Berger got the win yesterday. Watson was great. Rogers was great. Garcia continues to be great. Maybe he's the closer right now. Who knows?
Non-save
situation yesterday, but yeah,
very fluid situation. Yes.
So yeah, great all-around day and series from your San Francisco Giants. 14-16 through halfway part of the season.
Did not get swept.
Did not get swept. In fact, they did the sweeping.
Who'd have thought?
Joey Bart. We've been wanting him realistically since the season started. My arguments were there's no minor league games being played. He's not getting game time or, game reps. He's up in Sacramento. Sure, he's training every day, but there's a difference between practicing every day, even scrimmaging every day, and actually playing. And I knew kind of once he hit that mark of beyond wasting a service year on the MLB timeline, which was actually a couple weeks ago, but he finally got his shot. And, dude, he's delivered offensively and defensively, immediate upgrade. And all of us on Twitter that's been bitching and begging for him all year look like geniuses.
Yeah, very smart people we are. Although I didn't bitch it as much because I kind of knew they were playing the waiting game with it, because in the last week of the MLB, all these top picks have gotten called up. It's been crazy. It's fun to see, like Casey Mize just throwing tonight. It's his second start already against the Cubs, so that's gonna be exciting to see against a lineup like that. So, but yeah, there was no reason for him not to be here based on what we saw from Trump and Heineman. I mean, they gave them their shot, but you can only watch that for so long, knowing that your top prospect, is a fucking catcher. Like you gotta, especially with the team winning, and that's been a glaring hole since the season started. So yeah, I mean, we saw it coming, and thank God it happened.
He's been an immediate upgrade overall at the catcher position, and like we kind of touched on earlier, he extends that lineup immediately.
Right away.
He's small. I can't even think of the word right now. Small source of production here, but 4 for 12 in those 4 games. So he's hitting 333. His on base is 467. 3 of those 4 hits for doubles. And he's shown, like you said earlier, that first double he had down the left field line, was it like 109 miles an hour on the exit velocity?
Lord.
The dude's gonna start hitting for power. It's gonna come. So just be patient. And
he almost knocked over the center field fence.
True.
Jeez.
The great thing is too, though, is he's been really good behind the plate. And obviously the number one thing, and it probably gets overlooked more than anything, is calling pitches. And I believe that they have him calling games right now already. And look at what the starters have done. Look at what the bullpen's done in those games.
Yeah.
They're already the pitching's already better. And that play he had yesterday where there was a pop-up in foul territory on the third base side, dude, those are not easy. You're fighting the ball, getting backspin. You're fighting the sun. You're fighting Evan Longoria coming in trying to get the ball as well. And he did a great job holding on to his helmet to the last second. Coaches preached that, and he didn't even toss it. He just held on to it. So Joey Bart's been fantastic.
Poor Evan Longoria. He must have saw his life flash before his eyes with big-ass Bart coming at him like right there. My God.
Yeah, how big is Joey Bart? Dude, was he 6'3", 245 or something like that?
He's a imposing
big boy.
Imposing person. Let's go with that.
Yeah. So we're very happy Joey Bart's – and I'm interested to see – I know we're looking way too far ahead, or I am, but interested to see what happens next year because he continues to produce. He's got to be up with the team next year. It's either him or Posey that's going to be at first base probably. And then I would imagine if Brandon Belt's still around, which he probably will be, maybe he's their DH next year. Yeah, but he's
that's
better.
A possibility now.
But he's good at first base. But if he's not playing first base because, you'd rather have Posey and or Bart in the lineup, maybe they move Belt out to the outfield. He's played out there before.
I really hope not.
I know. I'm just saying.
But because the Giants have some young outfielders waiting in the wings. But
yes.
Yeah, I mean, you can DH with Posey, Belt, Bart. I mean, you can
interchange.
They can really all switch up if it comes down to it. But either way, Joey Bart, don't leave. Hang around, please.
Yeah. Okay. Gabe Kapler. He's been under the heat of Giants Twitter for this entire first 30 games.
Some mean people out there,
There are some mean people. You and I have been pretty consistent backing him and saying, hey, first of all, the season with the roster, with it only being 60 games, he's not getting fired this year. You got to push through it, give him at least a full season next year and judge him off of that.
I don't even know. I don't even know if we've been backing him. We're just not killing him.
Well, we have backed him in regards to what he's done with the lineup because
that's actually working. And it's worked almost every day.
It is, and because he's had to change it up. Some guys that are batting lower in the lineup have moved up, and vice versa. And kind of like a puzzle, it's worked. Obviously, his big knock has been going to the bullpen, who he's bringing in. And that's why I wanted to get to usage because now we're starting to see the last few games, starters are getting left in longer. It seems like for the most part, he's bringing in the correct guys out of the bullpen, and they're starting to get the job done the last 5 or 6 games, obviously. Right. Could we factor in maybe because it was an odd spring and they had such a short – quote unquote spring training, were they purposely, treating it like an extended spring training? Possibly, do you think to have shorter outings for the starters and now they're finally getting extended into full outings and that's the purpose behind everything? What do you think?
Well, I think Farhan, Scott Harris, and Kapler, they have a formula. They're big on analytics. They're all about the money ball, and then it's worked. It's, it's fine. It's proven to work, but I think they went into the season with that approach going, okay, well, this is what we do and this is how we're going to do it. But Cueto and Gosman, both Cueto multiple times, has been outspoken about being pulled early and his pitch count. And I really think, I can't confirm this, of course, I'm not there, but I do believe there has been, some dialogue probably exchanged and they've come to a bit of a compromise because Kapler is clearly recognizing that this team needs to extend the starters to have any type of immediate success. I mean, that's been evident over the past week where, I mean, we've seen it now 4 days in a row. And, this is a 2-month sprint. There's no reason to baby the arms. What are you saving them for? Right? And you got to throw analytics out the window at some point when you have a bad bullpen. You have to, and I think, like I said, the starters have been outspoken and it's showed immediate dividends because we don't know like what happens if they're pulling Cueto after 80 pitches the other night, or Gossman or Webb. We don't know what happens. I mean, you probably get 2 more innings. Well, Tyler Anderson, totally forgot about him. You get how many more innings of bullpen baseball do we get if they're going strictly by the book, by their book, not the book, their book. So I think there's just been a bit of a compromise to have the immediate success that they've had, early on. I mean, to us, 14 and 16, that's immediate success with this roster.
100%.
And if they hadn't been doing all the pitch count analytics stuff the first couple weeks, they might have a few more wins.
Who knows? So
I really don't think they were using it as like a tryout type thing, or just, okay, we don't know how good these guys are, so we're going to get them all some work. No, I think they were just going by their playbook.
Well, what I meant was by extended spring training was, pitchers are used to having start and throwing, normally in like January, right. Late February, they start pitching in games, and they have pretty much the whole month of March to extend their pitching. It wasn't necessarily a tryout thing. I was saying, I'm trying to say that he's working up pitch counts for starters. And you could say that that's what happened, and now it's starting, like you said, to pay dividends, and especially because he's leaving guys in longer. Saturday, Anderson goes all 9. The overused bullpen gets a much-needed night off.
Yeah.
Yesterday, they had, 4 relievers? And, 4 relievers, but nobody threw more than 18 pitches. They have a day off today. That bullpen is completely fresh going into the Dodgers series the next 3 days. So that's just huge. So finally they're getting some rest because the starters can go long. So.
Sure. But the only reason I don't think he was using it as a bit of an extended spring training is because the pitchers had been outspoken about it, and they've addressed it. And normally, if that was part of the game plan, I don't think they would have done that. But but you're totally right though, because now that we have a rested bullpen, like you just said, it's going to be interesting to see how they run this series against the Dodgers, because I really don't want to see Cueto get pulled tomorrow night.
Yeah, hung out for dry though.
If he's at like 85 pitches and, oh God, it's the 3rd time through the lineup. All right, Johnny, get the fuck out of here. And then here comes Wandy Peralta, ready to go. And we just don't – I don't want to see that. You don't want to see that. So let's just –
especially against that lineup right now. I mean, the Dodgers are playing really well.
It's going to be a big test for everybody tomorrow. I'm excited.
Yeah.
A big test for me and you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Moving on to the next thing. Hunter Pence was brought back this year, and we won't spend too much time on it. Obviously, our sentiments, how we feel about guys that have been around forever. Obviously, Hunter Pence got brought back, had a great year in Texas last year, got brought back this year, 1 year, $3 million. So it wasn't such a big burden that he was here. I think it was maybe more that he was it's not the financial waste. It was kind of the waste of the guys that could actually produce right now, even against left-handed pitching. Hunter Pence, 56 plate appearances. He had 5 hits and 52 at-bats, an .096 average, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. Just really struggled not seeing the ball. Really suspect plays out in the field. I'm just really glad. I'll say this, and I'll let you talk, and then we can wrap it up on the subject. I'm really glad that the Giants front office, and probably Kapler as well, and you know how Hunter Pence is. He's a great dude. He gets it. He even tweeted stuff out yesterday. Like,
I saw.
He had an idea stuff was coming, which, that's why he's been playing so long now. It's like his 13th, 14th year. So he's a true pro.
He knows
yeah, but it was time, and he's been struggling. And our sentiments on guys that are around for a long time. We're very critical of them. But for me personally, thankful for what he did, especially for 2012 and 14, and even a couple years after that. Yeah, he had a great career in San Francisco. We'll probably have his plaque outside on the wall in Oracle Park someday, probably in the next couple years.
Guarantee it.
I think that I think he'll get picked up maybe and given one more shot this year, and then if it doesn't go well, this may be his last year. Who knows? Yeah. But those are my thoughts on Hunter Pence. Thank you, buddy, for the years, and forever a Giant.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. Pence 2.0 kind of turned into Pence 0.096. But you know what? Like you just said, man, there's no reason to drag him along when the Giants have guys like Jalen Davis and Steven Duggar, and then even beyond that, Elliot Ramos and Hunter Bishop, and there's just no reason to drag him along through this process. I mean, if he was hitting well, then yeah, of course, because he would provide a role. And right now, you kind of feel bad for him when he's out there. I mean, at least I did, especially in that game in LA where he just loses that fly ball. And, I'm not going to say he cost Cueto a no-hitter, but I mean, at the time being he did. And I think I felt bad for him more in that moment than I've felt bad during any of his strikeouts. And he probably felt worse about that than when he got cut yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely did.
I mean, that guy's been around forever, and, he knows the deal, and he's been nothing but a true pro. And from all the things I heard today from guys like Dubon and all these young guys, Yastrzemski, that guy brought it every day, whether he was playing or not, and whether he was hitting the ball or not, and he didn't hit the ball at all this year. So that shows a lot about, the kind of guy he is, and not to get too mushy about it, but yeah, man, we're going to miss him, and hopefully a good team, not a shit team. I don't want to see him go to a shit team, I hope he goes to a good team, like maybe like Cleveland or a team like that who can get a little run and maybe get some postseason ABs.
It's a great year to have a universal DH.
That's what I'm saying.
So he can get picked up on both sides. He's got, realistically maybe half the teams that could use his services, and maybe he gets going.
Yep.
So thank you, Hunter Pence.
Thanks. Come again.
No, please don't.
Later.
The Giants made another trade yesterday. Another trade. It's the third one already, and we're not even in, we've just now entered the week of the trade deadline. And it's another one of those subtle trades. This one's kind of interesting, though, because if you look at the career numbers of Daniel Robertson, he has produced. And I think the thing holding the back, I don't think he's played it all this year. He played 74 games last year. He had a thumb injury that's kind of sidelined him and been preventing him from getting going. But he's only 26. He was a first-round pick by the Oakland A's back in 2012.
2012. His Port, Stockton Port.
That's right. And we know Robbie loves to go to the Port games. But the cool – I always do this with Robertson. I always do like Robertson and Robinson. I mix them up in my notes. I put both.
Because of Dwayne from D2.
Robertson. Thanks, Rob. Mm-hmm. I've hearing a lot of analysts saying he's actually changed his swing, and it's a lot like Justin Turner's now. So he's kind of got that high leg kick kind of swing going for him, and
so he's crowding the plate.
And he's a plate crowder, yeah.
Yeah, so, I did read that he. I didn't know it's off the top of my head, so I'm not showing off or anything. But he got beamed 13 times in 2018.
Well,
that is incredible.
and 2018 was his best year. He hit 262, but I wanted to get more to this, and this sounds funny by now because we've mentioned this a few times, but we know Farhan's a Moneyball guy, which, the definition of Moneyball is
he gets on base.
He's got a career on-base percentage of 340. Pretty solid.
It's probably cheating.
Maybe. Anyways.
He's standing on the plate, for fuck's sake.
I don't want to we don't need to go too long on this, but the things that interest me is he can play anywhere in the infield, and he has played some left field in his career. So he's like a true platoon guy.
He's the utility. He's a platoon guy.
which,
Just put me in coach. Yeah.
Yeah, which the great thing, especially on this team, there's multiple guys that can play multiple positions. So I think Farhan likes that, where it gives him flexibility of guys he can bring in off, or Kapler can bring in off the bench, spot start somewhere. So it's interesting. And again, it's one of those trades where they just gave up cash considerations. I thought they traded that guy a couple weeks ago, but he came back around again somehow. Maybe
he always
same name.
Always around. Like, I don't know how he does it.
Cash considerations.
But you must know somebody.
Traded for the umpteenth time in his career. So.
But hey, I didn't realize that he was part of the Ben Zobrist trade in 2015 when the A's traded him to the Rays for Ben Zobrist.
Yeah,
that's huge. I mean, that was a big trade at the time and a very overlooked person at the time, I'm sure. But yeah, interesting.
He's 26, so I mean,
didn't go to college, right out of high school. So 8 years of big league ball.
Yeah. So who knows? Maybe if he gets healthy, he can help out down the stretch. I think that he would be one of those guys they'd add to the active roster, and he can, if he's healthy, he'll probably be available to play. I mean, he's had big league experience, and he's still fairly young. So
yeah, be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, the deadline is in 1 week.
Yep.
We last week on our State of the Union episode went over possibilities, regarding the Giants moving forward. I just want to say this. We don't need to go into specific details because I think you and I kind of share our same beliefs, obviously 1 week later, of who they could move and who they could get in return or what they should be doing. Let's rewind real quick to last year. Giants got hot in July. And there were a lot of rumors, and I'm sure the phone was ringing off the hook in the front office regarding Madison Bumgarner. And don't forget, Samardzija was having a pretty decent year last year too. He was probably available to some extent. And they didn't get moved. So basically nothing happened at the deadline regarding the Giants last year. So they said, we're not buying, we're not selling, but we're going to ride out this wave. Obviously they got cold, missed the playoffs. This year, a little different. Like you said earlier, it's now a 60-game sprint. They're halfway through the season as of today, 1 week to the deadline. And I am a trust in Farhan guy. I'm sure he's still thinking of the next few years and not thinking of this shortened, does it even really count, season. I'm just scared that maybe they buy instead of sell or even stay put, because they do have some pieces that would be really sexy to some teams right now. Yeah. God, I'm just hoping they don't get into buy mode. That petrifies me, the recent success.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to even cross their mind, because there's no reason to believe that this team that's currently with us can really compete in a playoff series against a legit contender. Now, that could change in a week. I mean, our minds could change. They sweep the Dodgers, or they win 2 out of 3, and then they sweep Arizona again.
Well,
we could be
look at how we felt a week ago compared to today. So you're exactly right.
But the Giants' biggest issue is that a lot of teams are just like them right now, and the Giants' biggest glaring need is bullpen help, and there ain't nobody out there who's about to give away good bullpen arms, reliable bullpen arms like your Tony Watsons of the world.
Sure.
They're not just going to give those guys away for a prospect in, bumfuck AA. I mean, that's just because usually you can get relievers on the cheap, and I'm sure Farhan's going to be out there, kicking tires on everybody and making phone calls, but it's not realistic to believe that this team can do what's necessary to compete for a championship this year, which is address a very young and just not very good bullpen. Let's be real. I don't know what kind of guys, like the Pirates. Are the Pirates maybe the only team right now that are okay? You really
bad.
Suck. Like they're like 6 and like 17 or 18 or something like that.
Yeah, I was just going to bring up the standings actually so I can get an idea. I would say this. I mean, obviously there's teams that you look at it realistically like they're out, but teams that like you can count out now already. The Boston Red Sox, 9-20. The Angels
right?
9-20.
Yeah.
The Pirates are 7-17, and actually the entire NL West is still in it.
Right.
So yeah, there's again, like you just said, expanded playoffs. There's 16 teams this year. The Giants are in it somehow. I think I said the other day, nobody knows what's going to happen in this next week. I'm sure there's some pieces that would love to get moved. Obviously, we talked about last week who we'd love to get. I would love to see. I still would see at this point. And again, you said it depends on how this next week goes, especially this 3-game set with the Dodgers. Yeah, if they find a way to win 2 or 3 in LA or even sweep, good Lord. Yeah, I may be singing another tune because we're probably going to be, recording on Thursday after that series. So
Right. Yeah.
I still would at this point would still love to see Cueto get moved, and I would still love them to see if they can get something for Solano. So
right.
that's my feeling.
And you know what? Just thinking about it, the Daniel Robertson trade just for the immediate time, man, that could be a precursor to a Solano trade because they're kind of the same type of player, and Robertson's got big league experience, and he's younger, and guys like Cueto and Solano, and I don't know what the market's going to be for Drew Smiley. I know he's eligible to come off the IL pretty soon, but it's not going to be enough time to move him. But the thing about Smiley is he's a lefty, and everybody wants lefties. So that's a guy right there. I mean, I think all the guys that we talked about last week, and even Gossman, I think all those guys are going to be on the table for discussion. And Tony Watson, can't forget about Tony Watson.
Yeah,
but for the Giants to be real contenders, they would have to go out and acquire some serious bullpen help, and I don't see that coming through. Like the Phillies were smart last week. They went out and traded for Brandon Workman from Boston, who's Boston's best reliever, and they jumped the gun on that. I think they were smart. But
because Philly's got an awful bullpen.
They have a roster. They have dudes.
They have a lineup. Yeah.
Yeah,
they are not a bad starting rotation.
Yeah, they just missed a lot of games, and they're not. I mean, they're like 9-13 right now. They're not playing well, but they have a roster to where they think, oh hell, we get in the top 8, man. It's game on.
Sure, just get in.
So yeah, for a team like that. But the Giants, I'm sorry, like at this point, you can't expect them to start thinking, oh shit, we could do this right now. Because I think Farhan, Scott Harris, and those guys, I think they're a little smarter than that. At least they've proven to be. So, yeah. And you know what? Just in case he's listening, we can't say the Giants didn't do anything last year at the deadline because they got Mauricio Dubon.
That's true. That is
for Pomeranz.
Yes.
And they dumped a lot of money onto the Braves for Melanson's contract.
For Melanson, yes.
So, last year, nothing big, but significant things happened.
But again, those were, in my opinion, future moves. So, which entails we need to trust in what Farhan and Scott Harris are doing. Those were not, hey, we're competing. The we're competing now mindset comes from they didn't go sell more last year. They kind of, for the most part, besides those two moves, stayed stagnant, which means they're going to ride that team out. And sure, one of our Twitter buddies on there yesterday made a good point. It was Bochy's last year. They wanted to ride it out and see if maybe he can get one crazy ride to get into the postseason. And the Giants in the postseason, when they get there, I know I'm not a huge history guy, but Bochy knows how to manage bullpens in October, and who knows? Who knows with baseball?
Bochy's a Jedi, we know, but yeah, but the guy that we didn't talk about just now, who's going to get a lot of calls, is Wilmer Flores. Teams are going to come calling for him. So that's going to be interesting.
And, it's funny because Solano has cooled off. He's started to cool off. But
he's only hit 375.
I know. But, I would understand and not be upset, I would say, if Wilmer Flores got moved. But, man, I've kind of grown to him right now.
Same. Everybody really, the whole offense.
I hate being that guy because we are very much anti, player loyalty, I would say. At least I am. But, I love what Wilmer Flores is doing right now, and he's not getting paid much. And so just, hold on to him if you can. But
no complaints here.
I think when we record after the Dodgers series, we'll have a lot more of,
I think so.
Okay, this is what's going to happen. And I think I think Farhan's kind of waiting on the series too. If they go and get swept, it's kind of like okay.
Well,
So
and not just the Giants, a bunch of other teams too.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean that it's huge right now because, like we just said, everybody thinks they're in it, aside a few teams. So,
but I want to transition into the Dodgers real quick. But the Giants 6 straight, the Padres who are in second 7 straight, and the Dodgers 22-8 in first place. They've won 4 straight, 9 out of their last 10.
Right.
NL West is pretty damn good right now, man. Except obviously the Rockies who are on a downtrend, and obviously the D-backs. But the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's the 3rd time the Giants will be playing them this season. They've won 3 of the 7 against the Dodgers. The Dodgers have lost 8 games this year. The Giants are to blame for 3 of those.
It's a miracle.
Yeah, maybe they just have that rivalry number on them. But it's the first time and last time they'll be playing in San Francisco. But yeah, this is kind of a huge series, actually. I was thinking about it earlier this morning, and I'm just like, well, it's the Dodgers. They're going to win the West, whatever. But, now that we've kind of talked. Yeah, they are. But now that we've kind of talked more about it, it's like, how the Giants' success in this series could be actually the definition of the rest of the season. What they do at the trade deadline, how they handle their young guys, how do they handle their old guys. This is a gigantic series. And
it's everything.
I'll let you kind of go on the Dodgers, and if you want to throw in the probables the next 3 days, go ahead.
No, yeah, this series is going to be everything. And a week ago, we were just thinking, okay, how many more games do we have left till this shit's over? But then things happen, and here we are, and now we're kind of excited. But yeah, like, if they even win a game, in this series, that's going to keep everybody kind of invested and thinking, okay, well, it's the Dodgers. You're gonna lose 2 out of 3 to them because they're just better. But then I think the big one though, the big one's gonna be this weekend because it's Arizona again, I believe. And if they take care of business against them, that's gonna really, spice things up because at that point, I mean, if they go 4-2, let's say they go 4-2. In these next 6 games,
500.
I mean, yeah, you don't. I don't think you're pawning pieces off for 18 and 19-year-olds at that point. At the deadline. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be huge, and they're facing 2 lefties in this series. I mean, albeit these are very fucking good lefties, and Urias and Kershaw. Kershaw might be the best ever. So. But the Giants have hit lefties very well, that's been their bread and butter. And yeah, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt not having Austin Slater in this series because he, he's had some pretty good games this year against LA and their staff. So
and Kershaw
and Kershaw, yeah, trying to respect one of the goats, but yeah, he fucked Kershaw up. Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, you got Cueto and Urias tomorrow. That's going to be I would say that's a game the Giants need to win if we're being serious.
Sure.
They need to win that game.
Sure.
Because you got Kershaw and Gosman the next day. That's going to be another toss-up. That's a true toss-up. And then Buehler and Webb on Thursday. And Walker Buehler, our friend Doug here thinks he's the NL Cy Young. So
well, he was my preseason.
We know how good he is.
He was my preseason pick. He's not having. He's probably not going to win it. It's we're halfway through the season now.
But the Giants have struggled mightily against righties this year. So yeah, I think this is tomorrow's a huge.
Been good.
Thank God they're missing him. Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, tomorrow, if we're being serious about this team being good, tomorrow's a game that they need to find a way to win because. Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday don't look too promising in my view. But it's going to be a good test to see where this lineup's truly at. And the bullpen and the starters, I mean, the whole team really. It's you can beat up on the Angels, you beat up on Arizona. They are probably this new regional schedule, they're probably the 2 weakest teams, Texas aside, that they're going to play this year. So this is going to be very, very telling for everybody.
It's obviously we talked about the pitching. The Dodgers line. It's the third time we played them. I mean, we don't need to pound it into your freaking faces, but
they're good.
Man, Mookie Betts got going. He's on fire right now.
Yeah, and he was sucking the last 2 series against the Giants. So
the Bellinger's power.
Here we go.
Bellinger's power is starting to get going, and my guy Corey Seager is back. He's healthy and he's playing well again. He's still having a good year.
Our prayers were answered. He's fine, and now he's gonna whoop this ass these next 3 games.
Probably.
Man, what were we doing?
I agree with you. I think tomorrow there's a good chance Giants need to go. If Cueto and just get through the 5th or 6th, and hope the bullpen is true. Get into the 7th maybe, and the bullpen is rested and is on top of their game tomorrow. I think all hands on deck tomorrow. Go get game 1. Game 2,
huge.
I think Kershaw's gonna be a little pissed off from the last one. He's been rolling as of late again. I think it's finally time. As much as I hate to say this, and it just as it'll be a figures kind of game. Gausman going into the trade deadline. Obviously, I talked about how I feel about him, but he's obviously going to be available probably if the price is right.
It's a showcase game for him.
Absolutely. I have a bad feeling Wednesday could go sideways. And Kershaw's Kershaw and Gausman gets lit up. I don't know. I have that feeling.
He threw good against him in his last outing against him. That was when he I'm pretty sure this was a hot gun, but he got clocked at 99 in that game.
He did.
Yeah, I don't know how legit that was, but that was the game right there.
He was legit hitting 96, 97 consistently.
Yeah, no, he was. He was. But that was the game where Tyler Rogers got taken deep by AJ Pollock, and after the game he said, "Hey, I was good to keep going. I was fine, and I'm not sure why they took me out." So he called his shot after that game. So I expect a good outing.
Yeah, and so that's Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday is Webb and Buehler, correct? That's kind of like a wild card game for me.
It is.
I feel like if they are patient at the plate and Walker Buehler continues to semi-struggle throwing strikes, maybe they can get on base with walks, and they've done that in some games this year. They did it Saturday against Arizona. And Logan Webb is continuing to just be good. If he has a good outing, who knows on Thursday. So I would say best case scenario, they find a way to win 2. I think they win tomorrow. I really do. I think they'll at worst go 1-2.
I'm going to be optimistic and say that they will win tomorrow. The other 2, I'll let you know on Twitter.
So we basically feel the same way then.
I'll let you know on Twitter. I haven't decided yet.
Hey, real quick, I know this isn't in the notes, but Mike Yastrzemski is seriously involved in this MVP chatter, dude. Seriously involved.
Right.
Deservingly so.
Yeah.
And I think he's starting to get some national attention now. I'm sure Baltimore Oriole fans kind of know how it feels like to be a Sacramento Kings fan, especially after Luka's game yesterday. You're seeing Yaz over here who, like, he's not better than 25 guys on the Orioles is mind-blowing. Because I don't think I can name 5 dudes on the Orioles. They're bad. I mean, actually, they play better than that, but that's not the point. Mike Yastrzemski should never have been just let go. He never even got a shot with the big club in Baltimore. But would you agree with me that I would say there's 3 serious NL contenders or NL MVP guys, and they're all in the West? I think it's Mookie, Tatis Jr., and Yaz.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. Like, it's hard to kind of wrap your mind around it because it's so sudden, But,
yeah, sorry, I mean, it up on you.
No, it's hard. It's hard to it's hard to grasp just because, this is a guy that, like you said, nobody really wanted, and I mean, the Giants exchanged Tyler Erb for him. Like, I will never forget that.
Who?
I know. Yeah, exactly. and to be fair, the only reason I knew who Yastrzemski was because he was Carl's grandkid, and
He's
but
got to get tired of hearing that, right?
But yeah,
I do.
When I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's Yastrzemski's kid. Yeah, I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit, he's like 27, 28. God damn, he must not be very good. But no, I think it's completely legit, and I think for obvious reasons, I think Tatis is everybody's favorite player in the last like 7 days. Because he broke the unwritten rules of baseball that we all hate last week.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. And Mookie Betts is probably the best player in the game, aside from Mike Trout. So
right now, at the moment,
yeah,
Mike Trout's not even a top 5 player.
Right
now.
Right now. Yeah, today. But yeah, I think it's warranted. The attention's warranted. And yeah, anytime the Giants get any attention, that's not for being horrible, like I'm all for it.
Yeah. So I know that wasn't scheduled, but I kind of just wanted to touch on it because you got to give Yaz some love, man. He's definitely going to be – he's at least going to get some votes because great thing we've seen about him is he's consistent. He doesn't go into slumps, which now he probably will because I said it.
You're calling this again.
I know. But man, ever since he's gotten a shot last year, he's like this, and the trend's going up a little bit, and he just plays, man.
He did slump a little bit last year, just for a little bit, but it was short lived, and they sent him down. But they called him back up almost 3 weeks later,
and he's been lights out.
He's been lights out ever since. And what I've noticed with him is he's hard to pitch to because he's very disciplined, and he just squares. He uses all the fields, and sliders, curveballs, changeup, fastballs. Like he never looks fooled, and that's huge.
I wish I had his stats up on this. He's fantastic with 2 strikes. He's never out of an at-bat. He is willing to work counts. I mean, he's had several at-bats this year that have gone in between, 6 and 10 pitches. So, and like you said, he's willing to use the whole field. I mean, you throw something soft the other way, he'll hit it up the middle or go with it, and throws a fastball in the mid to high 90s away. He'll find a way to take it to left field. So he's been a pleasure to watch. And some people, I want to say this too. I've seen some people say like, please don't trade Yaz. Please don't trade Yaz. It's like, dude, he's under control for basically nothing the next couple of years. He is our best player. Unless he's getting moved for like, I don't know, Jake DeGrom, which
right.
Like he's not going anywhere. This is the new face of our franchise, people, for the next 3 years at least. Get used to it.
I think that's a safe call. And I think there's no reason to think he's going anywhere. Keeps his hands back. He finds the top half of the ball early. That's why he never looks fooled.
And he's pretty damn good on defense.
Yeah, he's not bad on defense either.
Not bad.
Nice catch on Saturday night.
Yeah. We got one more thing, and this was kind of added to the agenda today. I brought up our buddy Chris Steven last week, and he's been pretty involved on Twitter with us, asking us questions, and he loves interacting with us during the games. And like we've said before, if you have stuff you want to talk about here on the podcast, we'll put it on the podcast. I think he wanted what we're going to discuss kind of like responded on Twitter, and I was like, no, this would be good for the podcast. So interact with us.
I haven't seen these questions, not really.
Yeah, I barely looked at them too because I wanted to do them on here and kind of be surprised by them. So he kind of gave us an over-under on things. And by the way, Chris, I know you'll listen to this. Can you give us some like halves, like more halves, like 2.5 on something? I know you did on like 1 or 2 of them, but some of them are like full numbers. And Robbie's cool with pushes, but man, I want to hit or miss. So
hey, when you push, you live to see another day. Okay.
All right, let's try and keep this rapid fire because we've kind of gone long. So First one, playoff wins 1. Over under or push under. I agree. I think they find a way to fuck it up and not get in.
Hope not.
Second one, MVP votes for Yaz. He says 1. So 1 vote for Yaz for MVP.
Over.
I say over too. I think he's going to get legitimate vote. I think that he'll be a top, I'll say at worst top 4 MVP candidate.
I
He'll
think
get
so,
a couple
too.
first place.
I don't see him slowing down. That's all.
I agree. That's kind of going off my consistent comment. Third one, home runs. Now this is where it gets cool. Now I'm staring at these. Home runs hit by shortstop, 3 the rest of the year.
The rest going forward.
Yep.
Okay. Over.
Over. Okay.
Yeah.
I say under.
Okay.
I say under. I don't think Crawford's got 1 this year, and who else would play there? Maybe Dubon and
possibly
Dubon's
Solano.
not a huge power hitter, and Solano. Remember, they have to be playing shortstop that game.
No, I got it.
So I think 3 is actually a pretty good line.
Yeah, that's a good line.
I could see that pushing or under for me. I'll take the under.
I'm going to go with 5. Going Froggy.
Okay. Froggy 5. Here's a fun one. Ready? Saves by Trevor Gott, 2.
Under.
I'm gonna legitimately, confidently say a push here. I think he gets 2 more. I think Kapler's going to give him 1 more go, and I think he'll succeed, and then he's going to fall off again. Even though I would like to see Garcia, like he's been really good. And is that who I'm thinking of? Am I thinking of the right guy?
Harlan Garcia, yes.
Harlan Garcia, yes.
The lefty.
He's pitched really well, yes.
Pitched good last year as well.
Or the other lefty, Tony Watson, the vet, if he's still around.
If he's still there, dude, that's the big one right there. That's the kicker. That's the kicker.
So I'm going to say a push. I think Gott gets 2 the rest of the year. Let me look this one up because this will factor in so you know. Kevin Gausman, ERA, we'll say finish the year. 3.3.
3.3?
Yeah.
And he's, 3.9 right now?
No, that's what I'm looking right now. He's at 4.65. I think this is an easy over. Easy over. He'd have to dominate.
Yeah, I didn't know. He must have gotten some stupid shit with the inherited runners last week because, I thought it was lower than that. It's the bullpen's fault. Bullpen's gonna screw him.
I'll say this, Chris. Listen, I'm gonna say over. But if Kevin Gausman's ERA at the end of the year is 3.3 or lower, the Giants have made the playoffs. 100%.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Here's a good one. Okay, we got 4 more. Home runs for Joey Bart. Obviously, he just got called up. He's played 4 games. He's got 0, but I think he'll start hitting some.
Okay.
4. It's a really good line.
It's a really good line. I'm going to say over.
You think he hits more? Okay. I'm going to push again. I think he hits 4 in 30 games because he's probably going to play 26-ish of those games. He may pinch hit in 1 or 2 of them. So he might get up to 27, 28 out of those 30 games.
Maybe he'll DH a little bit. Who knows?
Could. Gosh, man, you got to factor that in too. So you say over, you say he hits 5. I say he pushes and hits 4.
I think he hits 6.
Well, Rob, if he hits 6, then just give him Rookie of the Year, okay?
Okay. Fine by me.
Trades, 2.5. I think this is a great line. And that's not including what's happened. That's including this next 7 days.
Right. Okay.
To the trade deadline. 2.5 trades.
Okay. I'm going to go under.
Okay.
I think
really depends on what happens the next few days.
It does. And I think 2 is the number. I think 2 is the number, but I think with the lack of minor league activity, I think that's why I'm going to go with the under. Because if this was a normal year, I would say, shit, we're doing shit every hour of the trade deadline. If I'm Farhan,
I think this is the first one I 100% agree with you. And is factoring in the lack of minors.
It's not the exposure this year is all. That's the problem.
Yeah, and the uncertainty, and you have to factor in too. Do teams want to buy in to a 60-game season for the postseason? So, I think 2's fair. I think 2 is what they max that out. So we'll both take the under on that.
Okay.
Now here's a really interesting one because I do think this dude's going to get another shot. I think he'll be up soon, and that's Jalen Davis at bats, and he puts it at 10. I think
at bats for Jalen Davis?
Yeah, for the rest of the year.
Oh, Yeah, with Hunter Pence being DFA'd, I'm going with over.
I include that too. Pence getting DFA'd, Slater hurt, Duggar. Here I'm gonna say this. They have Steven Duggar bunting with 2 strikes yesterday. That means they have no confidence in the bat. I tweeted that.
We didn't talk about that. I didn't like that.
I hate it.
I don't care if you don't think he can hit it at all. You don't do that to a young kid. I hated that.
I'm a firm believer. I'll keep it short. It better be a pitcher doing that.
Yeah,
better be a starting pitcher. You got not everyday player, but you got a position player bunting 0-2 or not? Was it 0-2? There's 2 strikes. No, I was not okay with that.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's up much longer. And they could use some right-handed power. I think Jalen Davis gets another shot. Jalen Davis gets another shot, and we'll hit the over on the 10 at bats. So you agree with that?
Yeah, and also because I believe Jalen Davis is like 26, 27. They're not. They don't. Age is just a number to Farhan. He's not going to give up on Jalen Davis just because he had a slow little start to the year. They traded for him for a reason. I really believe that.
I agree. Okay. And I want to see him get another shot. I think he deserves one. Last one. Complete games by a starting pitcher. One. Okay. We just had our first one Saturday with Tyler Anderson. Will they get one more out of this starting rotation?
I'm going to say no, under.
Okay. I'm gonna and this is tough because I think the guy that can do it may not be here. I'd say there's a small percentage he gets traded, but I'm going to push, and I think if he's here the rest of the season, which he probably is, I think Johnny Cueto gets a complete game in somewhere, and there's one.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. So I say one, and I think it's Johnny Cueto that does it. I don't see anybody else doing it.
I felt like Anderson the other night. I felt like that was just such a rarity. It was like somebody fell asleep or something. They forgot to go get him. Like what the hell's happening? This is 2020 baseball, and this guy's just out there like it was no big deal. It was great to see because it reminded me of the old days with like Bumgarner and Kane and shit, where like, I'm gonna keep going and Lincecum.
Yeah, every 4 or 5 starts they were going all 9.
Yes, somebody or at least it was in your mind that man, by like the 3rd or 4th inning, this will go the whole game night. Now that's the last thing I think about. I don't even really consider it.
Well, a week or two ago, I would have said under because of how Kapler was using the pen. But like we said earlier in the show, maybe they're extended a little more. So I'll say push. I think they can squeeze out one more complete game this year. If there's 2, the Giants have made the playoff. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm not saying that. No, I really do believe that.
Something good's happening. That's going on. Yeah.
So yeah, it's another fun episode, man. I love talking Giants baseball with you. We're gonna try. It's Monday the 24th, 8/24. Happy Kobe Day.
Happy Kobe Day.
We're gonna try and go again Thursday after. Is that a day game? Thursday with the Dodgers? I'm gonna assume so.
Actually, I don't think it is, but let me look.
It's not. It's a 5:05 game, so maybe we can record right before the game.
It's a 5:05 game?
It's a 5:05 game Thursday.
What kind of crap is that?
I know, which is odd because it's a West Coast game or whatever. Maybe it's a getaway day it's a getaway day for the Giants, but they're only going to Arizona the next day for a night game.
That's going to be a shadow game. I don't like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Hunter Pence knows what you're talking about. Anyways.
Oh, fuck. Sorry, Hunter, if you're listening.
Well, that game is in San Francisco, so maybe a little different. But anyways, yeah. So we'll try and get together, and we may have more trade talk. There might be one by then. I don't think there's a trade in the next 3 days. I think this is
far on. I don't know.
So. Who knows? But I think this is a telling series, and we can kind of reevaluate after this 3-game set. And I think confidently for me, we can go into the trade talk after Thursday.
That's fair.
So, yeah. So, listen for us then. Hey, Chris, keep hitting us up on Twitter, man. We appreciate the interaction and support. Any of you guys listening, hit us up on Twitter. If you don't want it public, you want to send it you can slide into our DMs. Let us know.
DMs are always open.
We'll bring them in on here and we'll get your name on the air. So, Make sure you're following us at Say Hey Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Say Hey Doug at Say Hey Rob on Twitter. And let's go Giants.
Go Giants. Don't get swept.